The year 1987 was the year where arcade beat-em-up games were huge. It was the year that gave us well-known titles such as Golden Axe and Double Dragon. Both Golden Axe and Double Dragon would later become major franchises of their own. They became some of the most influential games, especially on the 4th generation consoles. In the late 1987, Taito released The Ninja Warriors, an arcade beat-em-up game about two robot ninjas programmed to assassinate the evil tyrannical president Banglar. Unlike Golden Axe and Double Dragon, The Ninja Warriors isn't a beat-em-up game where you can move on a 3D playing field. The game is strict on a 2D playing field where you can only move left and right, similar to that of the 1984 Kung Fu Master game. At the time, Ninja Warriors was very advanced in terms of the technology. But in this video, I will not go in advance to talk about the original Ninja Warriors game. Instead, I am going to take you 7 years after the release of the original Ninja Warriors, which was during the height of the 4th generation console war. The year was 1994. Taito, together with a developer studio called Natsume, released a remake of the original Ninja Warriors game for the Super Nintendo. Now, there are 3 different titles for this remake. In Japan, the game is called The Ninja Warriors Again. In Europe, it's called The Ninja Warriors The New Generation. While in the US and worldwide release, the game is simply called The Ninja Warriors. Now, back in the day, I didn't get a chance to play this as a kid. It was not until a couple of years ago that I actually found out the game's existence. The first impression that I had about this game was that the overall presentation is very similar to that of the first Mighty Morphin Power Ranger games on the SNES. No surprise there, honestly, considering they were both developed by Natsume. Now, before I begin talking about this amazing gem, a quick shoutout first. Shout out to my fellow viewer and video game modder, Kanbei, who was actually the one who got me into this game. I've been playing this game for quite a while, ever since he recommended to me. You guys know that I am a sucker towards beat-em-up games, and I have been enjoying this game a lot. So, without further ado, this is me, Profar, and let's dive into the Ninja Warriors again. Now, let me explain how the story goes by reading the pre-title crawl.
This once great and wealthy nation lay in the midst of a terrible crisis. The tyrant, Banglar, used his force to strike fear and terror into the people. Once brainwashed, they lost the power to think for themselves. The society was ruined. What was once a great economic power lay in darkness. However, a single ray of hope remained. A small, powerful band of underground revolutionaries, led by the famous Mulk, launched a great campaign to overthrow Banglar and restore freedom to the nation. Banglar would be deposed by employing a unique squad of 3 androids. Creating a technology powerful enough to defeat Banglar's forces took time to develop. Just as the testing stages was reached, the tide turned against Mulk and his brave followers. Banglar unleashed his troops to crush the resistance once and for all. The attack was swift and sudden. Only one option was left. The untested androids had to be used. Your mission is to overthrow the regime and depose Banglar. With this order, the final battle began.
There's your story, ladies and gentlemen, and I absolutely love it. Rarely beat-em-up games at the time covered somewhat of a deep story like Revolution. The other beat-em-up game that I know with a deeper storyline at the time was Bare Knuckle 3, or the Japanese version of Streets of Rage 3, where that game covered the topic of a nuclear terrorism. That's about that I can tell you about the story. Now, let's talk about the gameplay itself. As I previously mentioned in the story, Monk programmed 3 robots to depose of the tyrant Banglar. Therefore, in this game, you have a selection of 3 playable characters. Kunoichi, the female red ninja, who is the all-rounder type character. Ninja, who is the, well, ninja, is the powerhouse type character. And Kama Itachi, best character by the way, the robot mantis ninja, who is the speedster type character. The overall gameplay itself is really simple. As expected from a side-scrolling beat-em-up game, go through the stage, beat up multiple enemies, fight the boss, and then end the stage. Do it again all the way until the final stage. As I said before, this game has a linear 2D playing field similar to beat-em-up games such as Kung Fu Master. Other beat-em-up games for the Super Nintendo, such as Final Fight, allows you to move in a 3D playing field. You can move left, right, up, and down. In this game, however, you can only move left and right. Having a linear 2D playing field actually makes a more challenging gameplay if you ask me. Trust me, this game is no cakewalk. Now, in a 3D playing field, your character can evade attacks a bit easier. Since you have more room to move, you can easily use the playing field to dodge attacks. In a 2D playing field, however, you don't have much room to move. In order for you to evade attacks, you can either move away from the enemy at the opposite direction, or you jump. When you are surrounded in 2 directions, however, your only option of evading is to jump. You can only face either left or right. This means if you are facing on one side, you are completely open to an attack from the other side. This also means you can't just go forward and attack enemies blindly. Crowd control is an absolute necessity in this game. You want to always make sure that all of your opponents are in front of you and you are not blindsided from the opposite side. Let's go to the basic combat. You have 3 action buttons. You have the jump button, the attack button, and the blaster button. The blaster move is a strong attack that sweeps all of the enemies on screen. As you can see below the health bar, you have the blaster bar. The blaster bar regenerates rather fast every time you use it. However, your blaster bar can be emptied if you're knocked down by an enemy. You can also combo your normal attacks with your blaster move. Each character has different normal to blaster attacks. This game also implements a block. To block, you need to hold the attack button. Now, it's good that you have a block in this game. Trust me, you will need to block in the game. However, I do have one major problem in regards to the block. The block is the same button as the attack button. You have 6 buttons on the Super Nintendo controller, yet you only use 3 buttons in the game? Why can't you use the L or R buttons for blocking? Batman Returns was on the Super Nintendo, and that game allows you to block by pressing the L or R button. Why can't this game though? I know they're not from the same developers, but still! You can also do a dodge jump. To do this, simply press the jump button while holding the attack button. The dodge jump is very useful in a lot of situations, especially during boss fights. Another downside to this game is that it doesn't have 2-player co-op. The original Arcade Ninja Warriors game had 2-player co-op. Why can't this game? Regardless of the flaws, however, the gameplay is still really solid. It has a lot of depth into it. This game really tests your skills. You can't just move forward and ram into your enemies like most 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up games. You need to really watch your step in this game. It's not one of those games that you can do well in your first try. Luckily though, the game is somewhat forgiving. In most arcade-style beat-em-up games, you have credits. If you die multiple times until your credits run out, you cannot progress any further. It's game over for you. And you have to start all the way from the beginning. In this game, however, they don't have the credit system. You have infinite continues. When you die, you will restart at a checkpoint. It actually makes up for the difficulty of this game as well. I've lost count on how many times I've restarted on a checkpoint because I got my ass kicked. You have 8 stages in total. Each stage gets progressively harder than the previous one. At the end of each stage, you will fight a boss. It's more or less the same thing like in the 2 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers games for the SNES, except in this one, they really amped up the difficulty. Overall, the gameplay is really solid, and it is guaranteed to provide you with a decent challenge. Once you have defeated Bangalore for good, the nation is finally free of oppression, right? 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 Wrong! This is what happens once you beat the game.
Banglar was defeated by 3 androids. It was a great victory for the opposition forces. Several months later, Mulk became the new president. A new government replaced the old regime. The circuitry which allowed the androids to think for themselves was not yet fully developed. They were programmed to self-destruct to avoid any danger. The development of these androids progressed under Mulk's government. These powerful weapons became far stronger than Banglar's old forces. And the people, realizing this, said, "Some things never changed."
So, the leader of the freedom fighters became the oppressor once the previous oppressor was taken down. In its own way, it's actually a good commentary about dictatorship. I mean, it's not uncommon for freedom fighters becoming dictators once they are in power. Power can indeed corrupt people. Honestly, this ending can lead to a potential sequel. Imagine a sequel where your mission is to take down Monk. Now, instead of using robot ninjas, this time we play as actual human ninjas. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. The music in this game was composed by Iwatsuki Hiroyuki. May I tell you that I love all of the music composed by Iwatsuki. He is seriously one of the most underappreciated game composers ever. Some of the games that he composed are the 3 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on Super Nintendo, the 2 Super Sentai games on PS1, Gear Fighter Dendo on PS1, and many more. I don't have much to say about the music. How about you listen for yourself? But my favorite song in this game has got to be the final boss theme. Seriously, this song is so amazing, Banglar should change his name into Banger. "25 years after the release of the Ninja Warriors Again, a Re-Remake was released. In Japan, the game is called The Ninja Warriors Once Again, while internationally, the game is called The Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors. The original staff that developed the 1994 Ninja Warriors Again worked on this project. The game was first shown during Tokyo Game Show 2018. The game was published by Arc System Works in Asia and by Strictly Limited Games in Europe. The game is available for both PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. The game introduced two new characters. Yaksha, the small yet quick female ninja with the ability to stretch her arms, and Raiden, who is a giant transformer-like android. Now, I'm not going to cover too deep in this game since I have not played enough to get the bigger picture. However, they did one major improvement that I really like. Outside of the improved overall presentation, they finally brought co-op in this game. I do have one major gripe with this game though. Why is this game not on PC? So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, your dose of the Ninja Warriors again. I do plan to cover the 2019 Re-Remake in this channel, but I need to play more of that game to get a better understanding. Personally, the Ninja Warriors again is indeed one of the all-time best beat-em-up games ever, or at the very least, it has become an absolute favorite of mine. The game definitely distinguished itself from most side-scrolling beat-em-up games at the time. If you are a big fan of good old classic 2D side-scrolling action, you should definitely give this game a try. Anyways guys, I'm getting out of here. What are your thoughts on the Ninja Warriors? Again, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give me a thumbs down. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And here, have some more Banglar music.